All right, guys, for those of you guys that are joining us here on Instagram, good morning, Solomon. We are just simply waiting for my Zoom to get started. So just waiting for my assistant to let me in. There we go. All right, so we're going to get the show on the road here in just a little bit. Come on. All right, there we go. All right, perfect. So let me go ahead and get, there we go. Can you guys hear me okay on Zoom? All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and get the show, of course, on the road. So let's continue on the topic. We're going to finish out with the topic of expireds. Today's the last day. We're going to move over to a different source, of course, here next week, which is going to be that of database. So, and then we are going to introduce just listed shortly after that. So we're going to go in the rotation. Instead of doing one script a month, we're going to do basically two scripts a month. So every 2 weeks, we'll be, in a sense, rotating the different scripts. Let me go ahead and pull up my notes. If you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask them away. So let me go ahead and pull up my notes here. All right. So yesterday we were talking about, of course, that of the amount of expireds, how many to go after, how to go after door knocking, the frequency of that. Aqua, I see that you're on. If you don't mind, you don't necessarily need to turn your camera on, but if you could just let me know if you ran expireds today and then how many you actually got.
Good morning, Robert. Yes, I actually have there were 37 today.
Okay. Got it.
Less than I thought, yeah.
Okay, well, either way, I mean, ultimately, it's still there is no exact science to this. And then those of you guys that don't know with what I'm asking, yesterday I asked the question Aqua in regards to how many expires showed up, and yesterday there was how many? 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So in that, today's expire day. Okay, what's expire day? That's always going to be the first of the month. Why is it expire day? Well, because a lot of contracts actually end up expiring on the end of the month. Just something that agents choose to do. So we will always get at least 3, 4, if not 5 times the amount of expire showing up today on expire day. So we do want to take a little bit of a different approach. There is another day that we also want to focus on in regards to expires, and that's what I call as expire day junior. That's on the 16th. Again, the reason why that is because we get, in most cases, 2 times, sometimes 3 times as much. So pay attention to that, because on the 16th, you likely will. In this particular case, Aqua got 37 on the 1st. There's a good likelihood that on the 16th, she probably will get somewhere around 15, maybe not quite as many as 20, but there will be at least twice the amount. And those are things that I want you guys to, of course, pay attention to. So let's talk about getting more expires. Okay, today's the last day. And for those of you guys that are tuning in, well, I don't go after expires. That's okay. Because as I've mentioned before, as you go through, you go and knock on a door for the purpose of marketing your open house. Every once in a while, you're going to come across a person that does have the motive, okay, or did have the motive. Okay. And you knock on the door. Hi, my name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. We're holding this house open over here and would love the opportunity to invite you. By the way, when are you planning on moving? Oh, well, you're in luck. As a matter of fact, we were in the market to get this home sold, but that sold last year. We tried to sell it last year and we couldn't get it sold. Oh my gosh, you did. Okay, now what? I'm not equipped. I've never spoken to an expired. What do I do on the person on the other side of that door? On the other side of that door, or a conversation, doesn't matter. Okay, you can sometimes be picking up a Zillow lead, or a Fizbo lead, or I mean, I'm sorry, a Redfin lead, or a Realtor.com lead, or somebody you're following up with from an open house, and they were previously an expired and or a Fizbo or whatever. It doesn't matter. They can be a notice of default. The point that I'm making it in regards to the purpose of this class is we have to make sure we're constantly working on the language of sales. What are we working on? Of course, that of our skills. Okay. So I'm going to continue on, give a point or two. We're going to continue to, of course, work on the craft of the language of sales, which, of course, is the script side of things. Now, of course, I get it. I understand a lot of times agents, Robert, I don't really like using scripts. That's okay. Okay. And that's perfectly fine. If you don't, it's not my place for me to sit here and tell you. What's the purpose of the scripts? Is it gives us basically a dialogue, a diagram. It gives us a direction in regards to the purpose of our conversation. And we have to remember that. Now, in this dialogue that we're, of course, having with our audience, our people, our clients, our buyers, our sellers, or all of these people, investors, it's gathering one of two things. Number one is going to be the motivation. Okay, what's the motivation behind this individual? Okay, that's what we're trying to gather. We're not trying to make friends. Okay, you guys can make friends with them after you close escrow. Okay. Number one is what's their motive? What's the purpose? Why are they wanting to do this? And then number two is the time. When do you want to accomplish this? Okay. So those are the things that we're always wanting to identify. And by, of course, having the scripts, it helps us further the conversations. And in some cases, which I see all the time because I hear recordings, I do listen to other agents prospect, and where I hear is a lot of dead ends. And what I mean by the dead ends is I really appreciate the call. We were thinking about selling, but we're just going to wait for a little bit. We're going to wait for the market to crash. We're going to wait for the interest rates to get down to a reasonable level. Okay. It's funny because I spoke to a client here, Lizette and I, last week, and we were talking about the last time that they purchased a home, they got in at 9.5% interest rate because that was the last time that they purchased a home. Okay. No, that's just how long ago they purchased. It's been that long since the last time they purchased a home. And when they sat here and said that they were getting, I think it was like a 6 point something percent interest rate, they said, I don't know what people are talking about in regards to interest rates because we've never had to deal with that, which is kind of weird. That's very, very rare. But in my points in regards to that, when people do sit there and say, we're waiting for the interest rates, we're waiting for the market to crash, we're waiting to see what's happening with all these tariffs, we're waiting for who knows what, okay? We're waiting for the sky to turn purple. We got to be able to know how to maneuver because a large percentage of the agents, what do they do? Well, here's my information. Let me know if I can be of any help. Okay, reach out to me. I'll send you some of my business cards. And then what comes from there? Nothing. Okay, dead end, no deal. And we're sitting here thinking that we're doing, in a sense, our job by talking to these people, whether it be open house, whether it be door knocking, whether doing events out in the community, or just simply handing out business cards because we're out in the community and we're at a local, whatever, Sizzler or McDonald's or whatever, and we hand out our card and that's enough. It doesn't work that way. Okay. All right, so let's move on. Let's continue to give more value. Let's continue to talk about, the last topics that I've talked about before. But before I do, is there any questions anybody has before I go into my points? We're good. Okay, let's talk about the what to take. Okay, in regards to what we take to the doors. So today, again, as I broke down yesterday, the expectation for those of you guys that are on the Pacific Standard, you guys should be picking up the phone here in about 20 minutes to contact these expireds. Some of you guys are going to look in the system and there's going to be 20. Some of you are going to look in the system and there's 70. You have to separate from, let's just say that there's 50. Of the 50, you're going to want to separate the ones that fall into your top 3 zip codes or cities. Okay, so if you don't know the answer to this, Aqua, that's perfectly fine. But do you happen to know of the 37, how many of them actually fell in that top 3 zip code or city?
Not very many.
Okay,
Not a lot.
okay, so like 2 or 3
So
maybe?
yeah, maybe
Okay, cool.
maybe 6 or 7.
Okay, so I'm going to use that as an example. Okay, so, and I'm using Aqua as an example because she participated yesterday and she's back here again. So I'm going to use that. So I appreciate you, Aqua, from that perspective. Now, of that, there are 6 or 7. Of the 6 or 7, what she's going to end up doing, ideally, she's in Chicago, so she's ahead of us in terms of time. But for those of you guys that are here in Pacific, at 8 o'clock, I would expect of Aqua to call those first 6 before she calls the other 31. And those first 6, she's going to call round 1, round 2, round 3. What do I mean by round 2 and 3? You're going to go through, call every single number on that list one time, As soon as you're done with it, you're going to go back to the top, call it a second time, eliminating the people that you've spoken with, eliminating the people you set appointments with, eliminating the wrong numbers, all that other stuff. And as soon as you exhaust it the second time, you're going to go into that third round and start from the top, work your way down, exact same thing. Why do we do it this way? Because in the very first round, in Aqua's case, she goes through, she calls, let's say 6 properties. There's on average about 3 numbers. Let's say that there's 20 phone numbers for the 6 properties. Of the 20 phone numbers, there's a very good likelihood that there's going to be 3 or 4 that are going to pick up. Of those 20 dialed numbers, that should take about 20 to 30 minutes. In the second round, because she eliminated now the 4 of the 20, now she has 15 or 16 of the numbers left. That's going to take her 15 to 20 minutes. In this round, there's going to be another 1 to 2 contacts. So at about the 45 minute range, she should be right around 4 to 6 contacts. And then you're going to try the one more round, the third one, and hopefully there'll be another person that'll pick up. So by the time that whole 1 hour, which probably should take up closer to like 45 minutes for 6 people, with 3 rounds, there should be about 5, 6, or 7 contacts. That would be the ideal thing. So now the goal is to go and knock on the doors. Okay, so now to go and knock on, and it doesn't have to be all 6. I would say at least a good 2, preferably about 4 of them. It all subject to, because sometimes we go through of the 6, there's one at 1.3, there's one at 1.1, there's another one at 900,000, there's another one at 800,000, and then there's 2 of them that are mobile homes. Well, we're not going to go after those. Let's go after the other 4 first, and we're going to go boom, door 1, door 2, door 3, door 4, come back to the office, okay? And then after you come back to the office, now Aqua's going to add all 30 of them, or 31 of them, plus the remainder. Okay, so whatever's left. Now she's going to go through round 1, round 2, and round 3. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of a different approach for those of you guys today. Now, let's talk about going into with what I started with, what to take. Okay, what I want you guys to take is nothing fancy, nothing super duper crazy. If you guys want information in regards to this, what do I hand out? I'll give you guys basically my version of plan of action. But there's 2 sides to a sheet. 2 sides to a sheet. Okay, on one side you have an expired letter. Nothing fancy. Okay, when you get it, you're like, this is it? Yeah. This is it. And what's on there is basically, dear homeowner, unfortunately your property did not sell. And I'm sure you've gotten quite a few calls by now. If you are thinking about still possibly selling, please let me know. Here's my information down below. Nothing fancy. Okay. Now, how many call to actions am I going to get from that out of 100 of these letters? Not many. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. But on the other side of it is going to be our plan of action. Okay, which is important because this plan of action we're going to use a little bit more frequent. Okay, because out of 100 times now that I'm knocking on the door, you're going to every once in a while, hi, my name is Robert, I'm a local realtor. I'm sure you've gotten quite a few calls by now, and maybe even some people to come by and take, to introduce themselves in regards to your property coming up on the computer as expired listing. I just wanted to see when you're planning on putting it back on the market. Hey. Oh, okay. So you guys are going to take a little bit of a breather? Yeah, I get that. I understand. And I can respect that. Okay. How much time are you looking to wait off the market? Okay. So probably through the summer. Well, what's the benefit of this? Right. Well, we've had all kinds of showings. We're tired. We're frustrated, all this other stuff. Then I go through and then all of a sudden it starts to pique their interest. Well, if we were to list, what makes you different? What do you do? What is it that makes Robert better than everybody else? What makes you think you're the right agent? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. As a matter of fact, here's my 21-point plan of action. I'd love the opportunity to sit down with you and share with you exactly that information. Would you want to do that now? Okay. Or would you rather do it later today? I can come by probably closer to like 4 o'clock. Which do you prefer? Okay. So it is going to be part of your arsenal. It is going to be part of the, if you want to call it, the equipment that is going to help you, of course, to capture more business. Okay. Now, again, as I've talked about before, 2 doors a day, every day, 5 days a week, over the course of an entire month. You're talking about 2 times 5 in a week. That's 10 doors. Over the course of a month, that's 40 doors. If you're doing at least this, of the 40 doors, you're going to get very likely about 10 of them that are going to open. Okay, about 10 of them. Now, maybe even more, maybe as many as 15, but let's say at least 10 of them. Of the 10 of them, there's going to be 3 or 4 that are going to relist this next week. Okay. I can guarantee you that. Follow it, track it, see it, look at it, and be like, Robert's right. The 3 or the 4 of the 10 that did open, the question is, are they going to do it with you? Okay. And that's, again, common. That's what ends up happening sometimes. So I'm going to encourage you all to look at your approach to this. Okay, how are you going after this? What is it that you're doing a little bit different? Are you prepared? Do you have your car kit, as I've mentioned before? Because you can sit there and have the perfect flyer. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, you put your dog in the exact space that you were supposed to because you already moved it from over here to over there to down here. Yeah, perfect. Good job. Way to perfect that flyer. But then now they say, sure, we want to know more. What makes you different? What makes you special? Why should I hire you? Well, I have my 21-point plan of action. Did you want to go over that now, or would you rather do it later? Well, let's hear it. I got time. I got to go to work in about 3 hours. So what do you got? Okay. Guys got that? Okay. And that's all I want you guys to take with you. Of course, make sure that you do have, a clipboard so you can have something hard to write on. Okay, not just the flyer. Have a tablet at the ready so you can go ahead and be prepared from that perspective to, in a sense, run comps. But don't be relying on this. Okay. I've been, unfortunately, a part of this before. Most recently, we almost ran into a very similar situation. Tablet was not charging for whatever reason. There was nothing wrong with the tablet, but it just simply wasn't charging. Okay. You always want to be prepared and equipped with the potentials if this ends up happening. And that's where your car kit comes into play. The car kit, again, is having a couple of purchase contracts and a couple of listing contracts and a couple of, miscellaneous disclosures. Okay. So that way, in case they tell you, sure, come on in, which I shared with you guys before 2 years ago, I did the exact same thing. I kid you not, took the listing on the spot. Okay. And that's going to happen. Now, again, I'm not in full production. Okay. So I don't want to sit here and come across, well, all of that effort for one. Yeah. Well, in the last 2 years, I probably have gone after expires and door knocked maybe about 20 times. Okay. Which is not a bad ratio. But if you're doing this every single day, as I'm asking of you to, okay, which I've done plenty of times before, I would take 2 to 4 listings a month at the door from expireds. And that's it. 2 doors. That's it. Nothing more. Okay. If you're doing nothing else throughout the entire day, other than perfecting your flyer, go and knock on 2 doors. Okay. Now, of course, I want you to do more, but if at the very, very least you're doing that type of activity, you're gonna get results. I don't care how skilled or non-skilled you are, you're going to run into people that are going to sit there and say, you know what, I like with what you have to say. You remind me of my nephew. Okay. Yeah. Something about you. I can definitely see the benefit in you. You remind me of my sister. You remind me of my uncle, whatever it is. My point is get in front of people. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, observations. We got about 10 more minutes before we get this thing wrapped up. I'm going to work on some skills here. So any questions, comments? Okay. So with that being said, next week, just to prepare you guys and be equipped with what we're working on. First off, those of you guys that are on Instagram, those of you guys that are on YouTube, I'm going to encourage you to come join us over on Zoom, as I'm going to share the script here in just a smidge. As far as the next week is concerned, what I'm getting at is the database. Okay. I don't care if you do or don't work your personal database. At least allow me the opportunity to help you understand why we need to or should be a part of the database. Okay. And going after our database is what I'm trying to get at. Okay. So now we're going to work on scripts. We're going to work on the skills. Okay. I just need a volunteer or two to go ahead and get this thing going. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share script. Here we go. All right. So who's going to go ahead and volunteer? Now we're all mute now. I don't mind being the agent. Who wants to either be the agent or be the seller?
I'll be your seller.
All right. So here we go. So right out the gate, we're just going to jump right into it. Again, I'm calling. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and call. So here we go. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, Sean.
Who's this?
Sean, hey, this is Robert. I'm a local realtor. I was calling you. I'm sure you've gotten quite a few calls by now in regards to your property showing up here on our computer as an expired listing. And Sean, I was simply calling to see when you were planning to interview the right agent for the job of selling your home.
Robert, I don't really want to talk to any realtors today.
Yeah, no, not a problem. I see you guys were on the market for about 6 months. You had an original intent to go somewhere. Where were you guys planning on moving to, by the way?
We were leaving town, but we're gonna hold off. Probably recheck back in the summer.
Yeah, that's pretty frustrating. Now, I do sense a little bit of frustration. Is your frustration with the agents calling you or the fact that your home didn't sell?
Well, both. We had it on the market for 6 months, and now all of a sudden I'm getting 100 people calling me trying to relist it and sell it. So I
Yeah.
just don't understand what it is with you guys.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I understand, Sean. I get your frustration. I mean, I'm looking at the pictures here. It's a beautiful place. Now, I am curious, though, what's stopping you from going back on the market now and striking while the iron is hot versus waiting until after the summer, as you mentioned?
Well, the market's not very good right now. Obviously, you probably know that. So I know the summer's gonna be a little bit better, and so I'd rather wait a couple months and see if I can get it done then.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an option, Sean. I totally understand waiting it out until after the summer. There are some benefits of going on the market now. Can I share with you one of them?
What is that?
Well, you've had I think you've said about 100 agents call you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the part where we definitely would like to take advantage of, Sean. We want to strike while the iron is hot. See, in this case, what we want to do is we want to use the marketing of all of these agents that are calling you to have them bring you a buyer. Sean, what I'd also like to do is share with you the other 20 points of my plan of action of with what I do to get homes sold. I don't mind to come on by. As a matter of fact, I have an appointment today at 3 o'clock in your neighborhood. I can be there at 4. Or I can stop by at 5 o'clock to share with you just a couple of those points. What time would be best for me to stop by?
Why don't you call me later? I'll see. I don't know if I want to, necessarily meet with anyone today.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, Sean. Now, you mentioned to me that your goal was, of course, to get out of the area. Where exactly is it that you guys are wanting to move to?
Well, we're going to Texas, but
Oh,
we gotta wait until this is all wrapped up.
yeah. Well, that's not around the corner. That's pretty far. What's the benefit of Texas for you guys?
Just somewhere we've been wanting to go for a while. We got family out there, and that's kind of where we need to be ended up.
Yeah, I totally get that. So you have some family out there. Who's most excited about making that move out to Texas?
Oh well, we all are ready to get out of California.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. That's a pretty big move, moving over, of course, to Texas. Now, as far as time frame is concerned, I know you talked about waiting it out until the summer. What was the original game plan? How soon were you wanting to get out to Texas?
Well, we had it on the market 6 months,
Yeah.
so we were hoping to, be there at the beginning of the year, but that didn't happen. And we thought maybe we'll be there by spring break. That's not happening, so I
Yeah.
guess we'll wait till the summer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally get that, Sean. I mean, I can understand your frustration now. So your original goal was to be there by the end of the year. I imagine being there by the holidays, being there by spring break, and it's come and it's gone, and now you're still sitting here in California. Sean, what I'd love the opportunity to do, as I mentioned, it's only about 15 minutes. I don't want to sit here and try to pretend like I'm going to do this big old dog and pony show. I'm looking at the house. It looks great. It's actually fairly priced. I just want to evaluate why the home didn't sell. And I'd love the opportunity to share with you why it might, not necessarily, it might actually be more beneficial to do it now versus waiting until the summertime. And the best part about it, Sean, is if you still feel as if though it's best to wait until the summer, that's always an option. Sean, I get it. We don't know each other. I don't know you. You don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I just need 15 minutes of you and your wife's time. I can stop by again at 4 o'clock, or should I stop by at 5 o'clock to get together?
Uh, Potentially around 6:30. I need to talk to her though. Like we're both pretty frustrated with this, and we kind of decided that we were going to wait. So I got to talk to her to see if this is something she wants to do as well.
Yeah, I totally get that. How does your wife feel about the move, by the way?
She's ready to get out of here.
Yeah, I totally get that. Let's do this, Sean. Obviously, we have a tentative time right now, as you mentioned, around 6:30. Let's do 6:30 to be on the safe side. And then I imagine, of course, you're going to want to talk to your wife because obviously you've had all these agents sit here and call you in regards to this. So I'll put you down for 6:30. Before I come over though, I do see here that your wife's name is Nicole. Um, you know, Separate from Nicole, is there anyone else that needs to be there with you guys to get this information so that you can make a sound decision?
No, it's just, yeah, I mean, our whole family's going, but it's just the two of us.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And then if what I say, Sean, I do want you and of course Nicole to feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, not just list it. Would you be prepared to list with me when I come out today at 6:30?
Oh, we'll see what you have to say.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want you to do anything, make any sort of decisions unless I can get all the stars aligned perfectly for you and of course your wife here. Now, and then of course I would further in regards to the pre-qualification. All right, so let's go ahead and get off of this here. Let me stop screen share. So let me start with you, Sean. What is some feedback or some observations based on with what I did?
So that objection I gave you, I don't want to talk to any realtors today. It was what I got yesterday, and I did not know how to handle it. And I thought, obviously, the way you handled it was really good. And then flipped it on me, saying, you have 100 realtors calling you. Why don't we take advantage of that and use their buyers? And it's like, well, I can't say anything to that. So I thought that was really good.
Yeah, and indirectly, that was actually answered after that question because I kind of literally just brushed over it and then asked the next question, and that's where I jumped in regards to that. So, yeah, but very, very good observation. So we're always looking for, of course, solutions, things from that perspective. Motivation, dug in a little bit. The original brush off of we're trying to get out of the area. Okay, well, what area? That's Texas. Wow, what's taking you over there? Family. How does the wife feel about it? So I started getting layer after layer after layer in terms of this motivation. You guys understand what I'm trying to get at in regards to this? Okay,
Yes.
good. So any other questions, observations? Why did you say this? Why didn't you say that? I noticed you closed early. Anything. Just any observations, challenges, questions, concerns. No, we're good. All right. All right. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. We are, of course, at the end of the expired mastery class. So, we're going to go ahead and go over next week regarding the database. Okay. Now, what's the database? This isn't just the collection of names and numbers that you've been hoarding for the last dozen or so years. These are all the people that like, love, and want to give you business. All of your past clients, family, friends. Yeah, those people you haven't called in a while. I'm gonna equip you. I'm gonna get you guys all situated, get you guys all skilled up, all geared, so that you can capture that 10%, the elusive 10% that everyone is, of course, chasing after. Okay. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. So unless I have any last questions, that's all I got for you guys today. That's it for expireds.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
Yeah, sweet. Awesome. All right, everybody. So let's have a powerful and productive rest of the week. I will see everybody on Tuesday. We're going to be talking about database. If you guys want more information in regards to coaching, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Okay, I'll get you guys all the information. Have a powerful, productive day. Go take a listing or 5, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye-bye. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Make sure you guys tune in. I'm going to encourage you, of course, as always, come join us over on Zoom. You don't necessarily have to, of course, show your face. I don't always prepare myself with my makeup on, but you're welcome, of course, to join as well. So with that being said, Tuesday, database. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to see you guys there. Let's continue to grow the audience. Appreciate you.